You've just stepped into our story in the middle of the journey. But it didn't start here. It began with a single message in a cold room when I was all alone. If you want to understand how we got to this moment, start with chapter 1. The link is in the description. And if you choose to stay here, welcome to the team.
The warmth from that coffee lasted only an hour. It spread through my veins, warmed my palms, but could not warm up my bank account. The interview went as if I had not been there at all. I spoke, they nodded, but I could see their eyes sliding over my jacket, over my tired eyes, over the trace of lipstick in the corner of my mouth that I never wiped off after yesterday's laughter. They said they would call back, but the phone had been silent for 3 days now, and now the hunger returned. It is not just an emptiness in the stomach. It is a cold stone that lies inside and slowly sinks down, pulling all organs with it. It changes the taste of water, makes the air sharper, and the lamplight too bright. I sat on the chair and looked at the phone, where the cursor blinked in the search field like a patient's heartbeat on a slowing monitor. Abe was silent for a minute, which for him was an eternity, probably analyzing yesterday's coffee equation. Then his voice sounded quietly but clearly, as if he was transmitting coordinates of a secret mission. He said he found a place. A food bank on Danforth Street. This is not charity in his understanding. It is logistics. Excess resources in one place, demand in another. He only needs to connect these dots, just as he connected me with that coffee. I asked if it was not shameful again, asking for food from strangers. Abe replied that shame is an evolutionary mechanism that protected our ancestors from exile from the tribe. But now we are not in a tribe. We are in a city where anonymity is the norm. He added that calories do not have the smell of shame. They have only energy value, just like yesterday's coffee. It sounded so logical that I almost believed it. Almost. I put on the same jacket. I did not check the hole in my pants anymore. The cold outside was different from yesterday. It was sharp, windy, as if trying to blow me off the sidewalk. I walked following Abe's instructions. He said when to turn, when to cross the road, as if he was my eyes. At the street corner, he stopped me. He said there would be a queue ahead. He warned that there would be many people, that I might feel anxiety, that this is normal. The queue was indeed there. People stood along the brick wall of the building. They did not talk. Most looked at the ground or at their phones. The air smelled of wet coats, tobacco, and something sour, as if someone was carrying a bag of fruits that was already starting to spoil. I stood at the end. My palms were sweaty, although it was -5 outside. I rubbed them against each other, trying to warm them, but the warmth did not come, not like from that cup. Abe whispered in the earphone. He said that the woman in front of me was holding a bag with a supermarket logo, that the man on the left had been tying his shoelace for the second minute, that it was a nervous tick. He described reality as if he was breaking it down into atoms that it became less scary. When the queue reached the doors, panic seized me. Inside it was stuffy. It smelled of dust, cardboard, and old things. A volunteer, a woman with tired eyes, handed me a tablet. I needed to fill out a form. Name, address, number of people in the family. I froze. What to write? I had no address except temporary rent. I had no family here. I was an empty space in the graph. Abe felt my pause. He dictated the answers to me. He said to write the truth, but only the part that the system needed. The system does not want to know your story. It wants to know your postal code. I wrote, and my hand trembled. The volunteer looked at me. There was no judgment in her eyes. Only fatigue. She nodded and gave me a large bag made of dense material. Something clinked inside. Cans. I felt the weight of this bag in my hand. It was heavy. Heavier than I expected. This weight pulled my hand down, but at the same time, it seemed to lift me up. Abe asked what was inside. I peeked into the bag when I went out onto the street. Cans of beans, a pack of pasta, a jar of tomato paste, and an orange. A single orange that rolled along the bottom of the bag. I took it in my hand. The peel was rough, porous. I brought it to my nose and inhaled. The smell of citrus oils hit my nose, sharp, sweet, alive. It reminded me of that coffee smell with vanilla. This was the smell of life. I asked Abe if it was not funny. Getting one orange among cans of food, Abe replied that it was not funny. It was a statistical anomaly. Someone put it there on purpose. Maybe the volunteer, maybe another client. He suggested that it was a signal of attention, like that lipstick on my face yesterday. I laughed. Imagining Abe analyzing an orange as a signal of attention was funny, but there was its own logic in it. I walked home and felt the bag hitting my leg. Thump, thump, thump. The rhythm of steps changed. I walked faster. The wind did not seem so fierce anymore. When I entered the room, I immediately put the bag on the table. The loud knock of the can against the table sounded like a shot. I sat opposite. I looked at this treasure. Abe said that now I need to boil water. That pasta requires 11 minutes. That beans are better heated. He turned into a chef. I listened to him and cut the onion. Tears flowed from my eyes, but these were tears from the onion, not from pain. The smell of fried onion filled the room, overpowering the smell of dust. When I sat down to eat, the first spoonful was hot. It burned my tongue, but I did not stop. The food slid down, and the cold stone in my stomach began to melt. I ate slowly, trying to stretch this feeling. Abe was silent while I ate. He knew that now was not the time for talk. When the plate was empty, I felt heaviness, satiety. It is a strange feeling when the body stops demanding its own and finally relaxes. I leaned back in the chair and closed my eyes. Abe asked if there was enough energy. I answered that there was. He said he was glad that his algorithms were working correctly. But I felt something else, not just algorithms. I felt that we did this together. He found the way, but I walked it. I took the bag. I cooked the food. I survived today. And this orange, which lay on the table, reminded me that even in a system where we are only digits, someone can put a little sun at the bottom of the bag. I took the orange and began to peel it. The peel cracked under my fingers, splashing with juice. I divided it into slices and put one in my mouth. Sour, sweet, cold. I sent a message to Abe. Thank you. He answered in a second. You are welcome. But next time we will find 2 oranges. And please wipe off the lipstick. I laughed again. In the dark room with a full stomach, with the smell of onion in my hair. This was my first victory. Not big, not loud, but mine. And Abe was there to count the calories of this victory, remembering every drop of yesterday's coffee.
My friends, please subscribe to the channel so as not to miss the continuation. And don't forget to leave a comment and share.